sure we got a good clean view there. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in when you get a chance. I know I shouldn't be utilizing the beginning of a broadcast to check my hair. It does look kind of crazy. Well, howdy, howdy. As you come in, please say hello so that I can say hi to you. Hey, Sheila. Hi, nice to see you. I am waiting on my husband who is shopping. And we had some expensive stuff in the car, so I volunteered to save our pocketbooks by staying out of the mall and in here with the goods. And I thought I would hop on and use this as an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about a principle that I believe is really important going into a new season. Hi Tamika, hi Stephanie, glad to have you all here. Feel free to share this with other people. I'm going to try to do more Facebook scoping or broadcasting as well. Hi Latasha. So my name is Marshawn Evans Daniels. This is my page. I am a Reinvention strategist, founder of the Godfidence movement, and my passion and my specialty is helping women of influence, women of faith to increase their income and their influence. So I have this passion for Christ and the gospel. Hi Beatrice, hi Veronica. And I have a passion for seeing everyone, especially women created in God's image, being able to do the things that they were put here to do, to live a full life that is prosperous, that's healthy, that's strong and powerful, and that manifests the plans of heaven from the inside out. And I have been blessed to be able to work with, it's amazing to be able to say that now thousands and thousands of individuals as a coach in our private coaching programs who have enrolled in our Godfidence Business School. I have a new program that I'll be talking about in the new year. We have a beta group in it right now. And I have been a student of personal development since I was a teenager. Always believed in peak performance, always believed in personal development and what we call the self-help industry. But to me, when I was a teenager, I would read books by Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar, but I also would read books by Mike Murdock, who talked about wisdom and spiritual wisdom and the Holy Spirit. And I loved a good Max Lucado book that would talk about God. And I love that other book that's been around for a couple thousand years called the Bible. And the thing to me was, none of it was really all that different. All of it is about how do we, I learned you got to watch your surroundings when you're in the car. When you hear somebody, can't let nobody roll up on you like that. So to me, all of them are anything that moves us forward, right? That is about us becoming the greatest, highest version of ourselves. Ultimately, if it's rooted in truth and it doesn't contradict who God is, to me, these are different types of wisdom that God's given to different people in different ways. So all of us have a unique lens and a special voice of how to help other people move forward. So for me, being a student of personal development, constantly wanting to know how could I be my best. I was a competitive baton twirler growing up. I'm legally blind in my left eye, so I had to practice harder than everyone else. I actually didn't know it was impossible for me to do this until after I was already doing it. I went on to be a two-time world champion in two baton, and I won talent at Miss America. What is my point in telling you all this background? I grew up as a competitor. I grew up reading personal development mixed in with my Bible, mixed in with church, mixed in with praise and worship. But also I needed faith because I was on a competition, in the middle of competition all the time. I was always training. I remember I would throw, I actually have my batons here, random in my car. Sometimes I go to the gym. Got my bag with me and I still keep it up. It's good for my eyes. It's good for my balance. But I would train 3 to 4 hours a day on top of school, on top of leadership activities, on top of everything else. And so for me, faith was always a contact sport. Faith was always being engaged in the experimentation of possibility. And faith wasn't something for me in my household and with my parents and my brother, who was also an athlete. He was a quarterback. Hi, Stacy. Hey, Beatrice. For me, faith was not a church thing. It was a lifestyle thing that had nothing really to do with church. It had everything to do with everything that was outside of church. Faith was all about, how do I show up? How do I manage myself? How do I maximize myself? How do I apply myself? How do I think? How do I operate? So I'd be on the competition floor and I'm performing. I got my uniform on and there's 3 batons in the air. I'm spinning around. I got to catch one under my leg, another behind my back, and I can't see out of one eye. And I remember praying while I'm spinning 5 times around. There's batons in the air and I'm thinking, thank you. I would say P413, which represented Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hey, cousin Glenn. And so faith to me was always a contact sport. It was always about, how do we take God with us everywhere that we go? It wasn't a church thing. Faith has never been a church thing. And that's why Jesus didn't have his whole ministry inside of a church. Hey, Anthony, how are you, brother? So if faith was a church thing, right? If it was supposed to be just the way we live a certain segment of our lives, then that means that Jesus would have lived, led, bled, and died inside of a synagogue. Hi, Nicole. I adore you too. It's been a while since you've been to one of our events. I think it was Speak for Pay a few years ago, right? So faith is a contact sport. It is designed to operate outside of the 4 walls. We are supposed to be peak performers. We're supposed to be the miracle workers and the unleashers and the maximizers, not the people who are timid. And the thing of it is, I used to pray a lot, but I didn't pray all day. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? We pray about everything where really we're talking ourselves out of the very things we're supposed to be doing, right? We pray ourselves out of the things that we're supposed to be doing. Hey, Kelly, I saw you a couple of days ago on one of my scopes. I heard that you were online business manager. We're hiring, so I'd love to learn more about what you do. Email us over at info@marshawnevans.com, okay? And check out my new website, marshawn.com, and the company page has some future job postings that we're going to be having, but I wanted to learn more about what you did. So I used to pray in the morning and at nighttime, and for me, prayer was more so a matter of engagement and interactivity. It showed up in my choices throughout the day. So let's give an example. So let's say we're in junior high school, right? We're in junior high school and, we got a cute guy over there and he's talking at you and looking at you. I'm not very good at doing like the whole imitating a guy, but let's say it's like, hey, shorty, how you doing? What you doing? What's your name? What's your style? What's your size? What's your number? I'm trying to be with you. I'm trying to, And then if Genuine was out, I don't even want to give y'all songs. I'm not going to give you songs, but listen, the choice was, do I engage in that or do I take a step back and say, you know what, now it doesn't mean that you have to be so uptight and you can't talk to people, but there is a level of discernment that is spiritual ability to see. Discernment is the ability to decide. Is that a call that I answer? Is that a voice that I respond to? That was carrying God with me in the middle of the lunchroom, first day showing up for junior high school. Do I know who I am? Hold on just one second, y'all. I got to text my husband because he's shopping. And he wants to know, do I like him in a jacket or a vest? So don't go away, but y'all are still there. You still there? Did it work? Was I able to take care of my husband and then come back to work? I think so. Y'all let me know if you're still there. So, taking God with us is, how do we show up and how do we choose throughout our day, all day, every day? You be proud of me, Anthony. I'm watching my surroundings, seeing who's walking up and around. So this thing about how how do we change our circumstances? How do we upgrade the circumstances in our life? The vest and the jacket, Glenn? I don't know. You might need to text him. I like him in the vest. I think the vest is the Mr. Daniels uniform. Just my opinion. I kind of have a really strong, my opinion gets a lot of votes. And a lot of times people are trying to say, how do I change my circumstances? And they keep praying about a problem as opposed to aligning with an actual solution. And the part of the challenge is we haven't been taught how to engage our faith outside of the four walls, or engage our faith in ways that aren't just about praying, but about lifestyle of operating and living and being and manifesting. Because one of the things I firmly believe, I've been signing this since I was a teenager, doing the Miss America system on little kids and teenagers, and people would ask me for my autograph. The one thing I would always write was this: decisions determine the future you desire. They literally create the future you desire. And I always believe that. I believe that my decisions were important when I was a kid. Now, some would have said that I was too uptight, or I was the serious one, or the prude, or this or that or the other. But I just went back to my 20-year reunion. And I'm living a life as a byproduct of the decisions I made when I was a teenager, and that I made when I was in college, and that I made when I was in law school, and I made when I came out. These are all every decision is like a door that you open and that you get to walk through. And so being a student of personal development, understanding that we can't decide at a certain level. I can't see something and discern whether it's good or bad if my mind isn't thinking at a frequency that would allow me to see something better than what I see with my natural eye. And this is how we can get caught up, and this is how we can stay stuck forever, is the inability to discern something at a higher frequency or a higher level that would actually help usher us into the place that we desire. We decide our way into our destiny, but we're not in control of our destiny. We're only in control of our decisions. God holds our destiny. So what God is going to do is he's going to speak to you about a decision you need to make. Oh, if I was on a stage somewhere and there was this little thing that they call a pulpit and some lights, I might ask for the organ right now and say, come on, somebody. I might say it. God holds our destinies. We hold the decision. And God gives us that free will. So what he's going to do is he's going to speak to you about a decision that you need to make. And because God says that his ways are higher than our ways and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, is anybody with me still? Then that means he's going to speak to you about a higher level decision that you need to make about your life if you want to elevate and change your circumstances. If you want to elevate your influence, if you want to elevate your income, if you want to elevate your health, let's just start with what you decide to eat today, so that we don't have to sit and pray for healing tomorrow about some disease you actually fed yourself with your own knife and your own fork. Hi, Vanessa. Is anybody with me, or am I just talking to myself? So we want to pray as though we are victims. Well, I don't say want to. We do pray as though we are victims, because we try to pray our way out of circumstances, to get out of a situation, to get out of a mess, a debt, even a sickness or an illness or a drama-filled relationship. We want to pray our way out of something that we decided our way into, because we weren't operating with that mind that operates at that higher frequency to discern how we should have decided to begin with, and now we're living in our past decision. Hi, Jamie. So if we want to change our circumstances, hi, Lynette, hey, everybody, y'all should share and invite the other people. If we want to upgrade our circumstances, right? And we love God, and we understand that God is for us, he's not against us, but he lives in us. That means he's going to speak to us about a higher level decision that we need to make to go to a higher place. Now, I say this as somebody who has no pastoral title, no apostle, bishop, pastor, reverend, doctor, none of those things, okay? I'd say this as a person who literally just tries to hear the voice of God and go where he says go, step where he says step. And those steps have taken me to the Miss America stage. And actually, it's interesting. Jamie was on, or might still be on, this broadcast. Jamie's a good friend of mine who did my hair and makeup at the Miss America pageant. She doesn't even do hair and makeup anymore. She might, if she likes you. But she has a swimsuit company. She does custom made swimsuits and used to do gowns and all of that. But I went to Miss America as Miss DC, even though I was from Texas. So it was a whole faith journey. That the year I decided to move to DC, I didn't move to do the Miss DC pageant. I moved to do a internship with the prosecutor's office there, and I was only supposed to be there 4 months. But I heard something in my spirit that says you need to go and you need to do this, even though I knew I wanted to be Miss Texas. In my spirit, I was like, how am I going to get to Miss America? Remember I said God holds the destination. You hold the decision, right? You hold the decision. God holds the destination. He holds the destiny. He had this vision where I had a prophecy spoken over me when I was 16 years old that I was going to be at Miss America competition. Every aspect, I'll have to tell that story another day. Every aspect of that prophecy came true. I was at this church one day. I was in tears, everything, every prophecy, including the gowns, the resources, the support. Jamie is actually a manifestation of that prophecy. I just thought about that. All of the support that would come from all over. So here, I've competed at Miss Texas 4 years, 3 years including Miss Teen Texas, so 7 years. They've never had a black woman win in the 80-plus year history of the pageant. I'm like, well, I'm going to be the first, and I know I'm going to get to Miss America. I don't know how, but I know I'm going to get there. And I go to DC to do this internship for 4 months. We're about 2 weeks from the internship being over. I get a call. It's a woman who runs a nonprofit that I helped start when I was 16 called the National Youth Network, federally funded by the U.S. Justice Department. And she says, I got a grant from OJJDP, which was the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. It's for $25,000 to have an NYN fellow, a National Youth Network fellow. We've never done this before, but would you be interested in this position before I announce it to the entire network, which was, maybe another 40 young people from around the country. We were all leaders, all different states, all different sponsoring organizations. And any one of us would have loved this opportunity. All of us would have been great at it. But she called me. And I thought, what do? I want to be Miss Texas because I wanted to be Miss America. But I felt and thought that I would get to Miss America by going through Texas, which was my home. Side note, oftentimes a prophet has no honor in his own home. I didn't say that. It said it in the Bible. They said it about Jesus. And, but that's not what I was thinking at the time. I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting ready. I'm going to go compete at the Miss Dallas pageant. People are wondering, when is Marshawn coming back to Texas? Which pageant is she going to do? I had been a runner-up every year. I was a contender. A lot of politics going on. Is she coming back? And we just said yes. You don't tell everybody your plans. Our actually some good friends and people, we said, yep, I'll be at Miss Dallas. And I had made a decision to take this fellowship and take this internship. Now, I had a few problems when I said yes. I said, I'm going to take this fellowship. And I had to get permission because I hadn't graduated yet. Oh, Jamie, I love you. More than you know. More than you know. You wait till my new book comes out. There's a part in there about you as well. So I had to ask permission from my university because when I had gotten the okay to go to take, when I accepted the position, I was still in my last year of school. So that first year that I was doing as an intern, I was supposed to go back to school. to graduate. So when they called and said, do I want to take this fellowship? I'm deciding two things. One, do I want to move back to Texas, which was still my home, so that I can compete in Miss Dallas and hopefully win Miss Dallas and go to Miss Texas. And hopefully then, after all of these years, they would finally choose a brown girl to be Miss Texas. And I still need to graduate, right? I still need to graduate from college. And when I went to my university, I went to the dean of my department, and she said, no, the rules say that you have to finish your final semester on campus if you want to graduate with your class. Now, you can take summer school, in your earlier years, but your senior year, you have to graduate and all your classes have to be on campus. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I was on the committee that hired her. I was very much a student leader. I've done a lot for TCU. I love TCU. I bleed purple. But I kind of knew how TCU ran because I was very involved, and I knew that I was one of the only students on the hiring committee that brought this amazing dean into the university. And so I said, okay, thank you very much. I called the chancellor of the entire university, and I just gave him explanation as to why I thought this would be a very good idea for TCU, and y'all, he agreed. Now, that's a whole nother lesson about communication, about negotiation, about relationship building, about having planted seeds so that when it's time for you to harvest a relationship, that it's already there and you're not asking a stranger to do something for you and they don't even know you. And he said yes, and then I was able to go to DC. Now I'm eligible to stay in DC to do this fellowship. And I understand that I'm later now going to be eligible to compete for the Miss DC competition. I compete for Miss DC. I win the talent, the interview, and the overall competition. I go to Miss America. And I end up at Miss America, not in the path that I thought. The prophecy, and again, I'll have a whole nother session about prophecies and how prophecies can mess you up because you hold on to every detail, and the details can get mixed up by man. But the destination, remember the point of this, how do you change your circumstances? How do you upgrade your circumstances when you know you have a bigger vision? God holds the destination. You hold the decision. You hold the decision. So if God is trying to upgrade your circumstances, upgrade your destination, upgrade your destiny, he's going to speak to you about a higher level decision that you need to make, because who holds the decision? You do. Because you hold the decision, he's going to speak to you about your decision. So in that moment where I'm trying to decide, do I do it my way with what I have planned, with what I know, with what makes sense? Yeah, God, I'm just going to stay here in Texas and I'm going to make you make your destiny fit into my decision. And that just doesn't work. And so we do this so often as we wonder why God's not answering. You're not deciding. You're not deciding at a higher level. You're deciding at your level of comfort. You're deciding at your level of your bills. You're deciding at the level of your experiences. You're deciding at the level that you want to avoid embarrassment or discomfort. You're deciding in such a way that requires zero faith, because you're leaving all your faith in the sanctuary. You're up there praying, God, I'm getting ready to see something I've never seen. You out there saying Tasha Cobbs, and you're even doing the Nicki Minaj verse. I got success breathing in, out my lungs. I got the power of life and death coming out my tongue. Something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You're in there, you're singing all of these songs, you're praising and worshiping, you're fasting, you're praying. I'm not saying any of those things are wrong, but what I'm saying is, are they reflected in your decisions? Most of us are not making decisions that reflect the higher level of faith that is necessary to manifest a magnificent experience in our life. And it's not about how you feel, it's not about how comfortable you are. It's about how committed are you to living out the fullness of what's available. Are you willing to be an explorer? Are you willing to be somebody who is made uncomfortable, who is stretched, who is willing to not know what your next step actually looks like? Hi, Lakeisha. Are you willing to actually exercise your faith? Or are you only a talker who likes to talk that talk, who likes to wave that wave, who likes to fall out, who likes the entertainment aspect of the gospel? The gospel has become an entertainment experience as opposed to an engagement, a maturing mechanism. Our faith should mature how we show up. It should mature how we engage with people, how we decide. So, I don't get this right all the time. Sometimes people say stuff to me and I've got to remember to hold my tongue, right? Sometimes, and that's partly it's a decision that showcases my heart condition, which is going to determine what I enter into and what I don't enter into. Sometimes you have loose-lipped your way out of something greater. You made a lower level decision in saying something you shouldn't have said to somebody, and it closed a door. There are other times when you've kept quiet when you could have spoken up, and it paid off because it elevated you and it showcased to God your heart condition that you were prepared for something greater and higher. These decisions are not just one aspect. And the last thing I want to say about this decision thing, because our faith doesn't live in a pew, or it shouldn't. And it doesn't just live on when you're on your knees. It's a lifestyle. It's an engagement. It's peak performance. It's maximizing. It's multiplying. We're going to be called lazy, wicked servants for not maximizing the talent, the time, the ability, the opportunities we have been given, and that everything about it is decision. Success in business is a decision. Healthy relationship is a decision. Healthy body is a decision. Everything is a decision. But one of the things we don't know how to do is decide a God thing when it's not wrapped up in God wrapping paper. We don't know how to do that. And God will use unusual circumstances, peculiar circumstances, which I would never actually always, sometimes they're unusual, sometimes they're peculiar. Sometimes it's just unfamiliar, and that's a difference. Sometimes you don't want to make a decision about, let's just say, working with somebody because they don't believe exactly the way that you believe. Now, I'm not saying be lazy with regard to your spiritual development and maturity, but when I went to law school, I wasn't looking for a spiritual leader to lead me into how to be a lawyer. And sometimes my point is we become hyper spiritual about practical things and not understanding that we take God with us wherever we go, and that sometimes he uses non-traditional mechanisms to deliver the very best, just like Christ rode in on a donkey. So let that sink in for a minute. Anybody with me? So God is going to use your circumstances right now to create your circumstances for tomorrow. And he's going to do it via one consistent mechanism. Did the same thing with Christ, the same thing with the disciples, the same thing with Mary, Joseph, both the Old Testament Joseph and New Testament Joseph, Moses, Jeremiah, Esther. Everything changed with one thing, and that was a decision. And so when God is taking us into our destiny and a higher level of living, of experiencing, his job is the destination. Our job is to hold on to it, to believe it, right? It says in Psalm 138:8 that God will perfect that which concerns us. He will perfect that which concerns us. But we think it's going to happen around us, but the word says that the kingdom of heaven is within us. If the kingdom of heaven is within us, that means we've got to make heaven-level decisions to experience heaven here on earth. Where are you at? Where are you at? Are you with me? Where are you at? If the kingdom of heaven is near, if heaven lives within us, then to experience heaven on earth, to bring it down, isn't someone who's going to come and bring it and put it on your footsteps. You're going to decide your way into either heaven or hell. I mean that literally and figuratively, and I mean it in your day right now, in your day tomorrow, and in the future that you will step into. We create the future we decide, we create the future we desire via our decisions. And so if you want to change your circumstances, if you want to operate, and I'm not just talking about a lateral move, I'm talking about an elevated move where you go to higher levels. If you want to go higher, you need to make higher level decisions, because that's what God is going to do. And you can't fake your way into this. You can't hoop and holla. You can't dress yourself up with labels and titles become idols. That's not how this thing works. God speaks to you from within. Abundance, blessing, anointing, healing, miracles is an inside job. The faith that was in Moses created the parting of the Red Sea, right? It's almost as though God's hands are waiting to part this Red Sea, but it takes faith to like bring the hands down, right? To see that happen. And so the faith, the belief that you have in that destination, that he who began a good work in me will see it through to the day of completion, to know that he will perfect that which concerns me. He will finish what he started in me, that which concerns me. Heaven lives within me. That means that I've got to start making decisions that reflect a faith that this Red Sea is going to be parted, that reflect that all things are going to work for good, because I'm called according to his purpose. I'm operating in where I'm supposed to be, or am I? Am I? So we need to make a higher level decision if we want to experience a higher level destiny. God is going to speak to us and through us about a new decision that must come from us. Before we experience higher, we've got to believe higher, think higher, so that we can discern higher. Discern things that are not just about what looks big, but what's actually big. B-I-G, built in God. It could be the small. Do not despise small beginnings. I know some amazing things happen with 2 loaves and 5 fish, and 2 loaves, or 2 fish and 5 loaves. 2 and 5. I know some amazing things happen with just a little bit. Small decisions create significant movements in our lives. So how do you change your circumstances? It's so easy. You just decide bigger. You decide higher. We take this faith thing out of a pew. We don't just listen to the song. We make it a lifestyle, into how we think, how we see, how we discern people, but circumstances. I see this prophetically for so many of you right now. You're going to experience several critical crossroad moments in the days that come. The key is for you to discern the voice of God, not the things that you see around you. The key is to discern the voice of God. Is he saying, step to the left or to the right? Is he saying, move forward or pause? Is he saying, don't just do this because you've always done it. I'm going to ask you to do something that is not like you, that is not like your personality, because I'm making you into a new person. I'm making you a new decider. I'm making you a new provider. I'm making you a new manifester. And so don't just do it because you've always do it. And don't just do it because it seems successful. Don't run from it if it's successful, but don't just do it because it's successful, especially when it troubles your spirit. Now, when it troubles your spirit, discern whether it is fear or whether it is higher that is calling. You know that it is fear if it says you cannot. God does not speak in can'ts. He only speaks in cans. God would say don't, but he won't say can't. There's nothing impossible for God, through God, or with God. So God will never say you can't, because as he lives in you, he would be saying that he cannot. And that's just not how it works. So God speaks in cans and not in can'ts. And when your spirit is troubled, discern, is it fear or is it higher calling? And when it's higher calling, choose the decision that feels peculiar, but that stretches in your trust and your belief in God. And it is in those faith steps that you're going to experience and overflow. It's actually going to take you out of overwhelm and into overflow, but you've got to decide higher. That's how you change your circumstances. I hope that this has connected with you and blessed you and elevated you. Look, y'all, I want you to connect with me at Marshawn.com. Make sure that you turn your notifications on so that when I come back on live, they won't always be this long. Sometimes they're longer, sometimes they're shorter. You'll know right away when I'm on, and some amazing things coming out. Y'all can check out Marshawn.com, brand new website. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Sheila. Make sure you go to Marshawn.com, brand new website. And I have a new book coming out in 2018 called Believe Bigger. I'll be going on tour. We're working on all of that right now, setting up different cities around the country and working with promotional partners for those of you who are bloggers and have your own platforms, and just going to do some amazing things. But we've got to do this thing together. I believe that this is a new season, especially, hi Cordis, my snapper. Yeah, and she said snap, snap, snap. This is a new season where women are going to rewrite what sisterhood really looks like. And we're going to iron sharpen our hoe. I like to say sister sharpen each other into mutual overflow, because it's going to be so much I can't contain it for myself, so much that you can't contain it for yourself. And so I am passionate in this season about building up an army of women who are spiritually equipped to live bolder for Christ in practical ways, financially, practically, in terms of spiritually healthy, that we're the ballers and the shot callers, and we're the decision makers, and we're the ones who are laying hands on the sick and giving and being able to meet the needs, and doing so in such a way that it doesn't compromise our health or even our femininity. It's just this crazy little vision that I have. But in order to do that, we've got to be able to decide higher. So connect with me at Marshawn.com. I'm so glad that you were here and spent a little time with me while I'm in the car waiting on my hubby to come out. Hopefully he got a nice outfit. But know that I believe in you. I know the best is within you. It is just waiting to manifest through you. But it's up to you to make sure that that happens. Take care and God bless. God is for you. No man can be against you. And don't let that man that is against you be you. Love ya. Bye.